Thanks, Dr. Matosian, and thank you for the invite to you and to Jim and Jen. I'm going to just jump right in. I'm VP of Global Sales for the company. I have a lot to cover, so if you don't mind, Jen, first slide, please. Just a little background on our company. We were founded at the Balkan Center in Bascom Palmer in Miami. We are a Miami company. I'm based in Fort Myers, up the road a little bit. Our two co-founders are Dr. Alana Grajewski, and Dr. Grajewski was the head of the Pediatric Glaucoma Center at Bascom, and Matteo Ziff is our CEO. Dr. Grajewski is our medical director. And Matteo got his background in math and AI from Brown University, and he was the director of new technology at Bascom Palmer. Alana asked Matteo back in 2000 to build me a Humphrey and a headset. That was the goal. And he started working on it. COVID hit, and they spent the next 2.5 years of research and development. We collected clinical validation at Bascom, 460 patients in our normative database and about 15 studies. And then in September of 2022, we started selling it. Matteo reached out to me. My background, I've been in eye care for 35 years. I was always the youngest guy in the room. Now I'm the oldest guy in the room. But I started my career with Humphrey, worked for Allergan, worked for a company, Laser Diagnostic Technologies, who was subsequently bought by Humphrey, and then I spent 25 years in international. I was director of sales for Europe for Zeiss for 5 years, direct VP of sales for Optoview, and then Matteo reached out to me, and I love startups, and it looked like a great opportunity. So we started selling in earnest in September. We got a whole bunch of contracts, and in a little over 2 years, we've installed 1,100 devices. So it's been a rocket ride for this small startup. We have 20 salespeople covering the U.S. It's a combination of directs and independents. And we're approved for sale in 18 international markets in Latin America and Asia Pacific. We have an in-house team of developers, sales, marketing, clinical support, and regulatory. We're just focused on providing the best value and customer experience in the virtual reality eye care space. Next slide, please. This is our scientific advisory committee. It's made up of 3 ophthalmologists, Dr. Francis at UCLA, Dr. Choplin in San Diego, and Dr. Latina in Boston, and 2 optometrists, Dr. Lighthizer in Oklahoma and Dr. McGreal in St. Louis. Next slide, please. Just to give you a little technology overview, we use commercial grade Pico headsets. They're just an off-the-shelf commercial-grade headset. They're extremely durable and proven. There's hundreds of thousands of these that have been sold worldwide. Our technology is cloud-based, so that allows you to load and review tests from anywhere. And we have automatic VR updates like a Tesla. Just keep it plugged in and turned on at night, and we do all our updates in the middle of the night. The nice thing about this technology, there's no need for a dedicated room or a technician like a standard automated perimeter. That makes it really easy for the patients and the technicians. They don't have to lean into a bowl. They can sit back and in the chair while they're waiting for you. And virtual reality visual fields can eliminate all those visual field backlogs and increase office efficiency. And we have a virtual assistant. There's little speakers in the headset that will instruct and coach the patient in 21 languages. Next slide, please. We use the same algorithms, reliability indices, test options, and printouts as the standard of care Humphrey. So again, that was the goal, was to make this exactly like a Humphrey. I'll show you some examples of printouts in a minute. We are DICOM compatible and HIPAA compliant. That means we can easily integrate with almost any EMR. We have over 1,100 devices, and obviously everybody needs to integrate with their EMR, and we've never had a problem with one customer. We have a normative database of over 460 patients, all collected at Bascom Palmer. Next slide, please. So what is the difference between virtual reality and standard automated perimetry? And the million-dollar question is virtual reality technology going to replace the HFA? I changed my slide. I had originally said, no, it's not, but I wanted to be a little more accurate. I really think it's up to the practice. We don't go in like knights in shining armor and say you're going to replace your Humphrey. We would rather take a more gentle approach and say that this technology is an excellent adjunct to your HFA, and it provides solutions to the many problems that have plagued visual fields for over 30 years. And everybody knows what those are. It's the most hard test to do in a practice. But in reality, many practices have swapped out their standard automated perimeters for VRVF. We recommend as an initial integration, if you use this on all of your screening patients, glaucoma suspects, stable glaucoma patients, and patients that are unable to fit into a standard automated perimeter, you're going to significantly lower the backlog of patients that are waiting for visual fields. And then again, the question is this ready for prime time? I like to say absolutely, because anecdotally, I've seen thousands of these performed and, again, in 1,100 offices, and the techs, the doctors, and the patients love it. Visual fields no longer need to be a dreaded test. And a lot of our business now is referral business and people coming back for second and third headsets, and they absolutely love the technology. Next slide, please. So it's a very crowded space. There's quite a few companies that are selling this now, and the million-dollar question is, why go with virtual vision? I would have to say that in summary, our graphic user interface is probably the easiest of all the devices out there. It's meat and potatoes, and we hear that from customers that go to the AAO and ASCRS and visit all the booths, and they come back and they buy our instrument because they say it's so easy to operate. There is no learning curve. It's just like a Humphrey. So if you're used to a Humphrey, you're going to look at the exact same printouts and you're going to see the same reliability indices. We have extremely durable, proven hardware. We offer a full replacement warranty. We do not repair these. We just replace them. There's no cloud storage or monthly fees. Our company is dedicated to VR development. That's all we do. And we're adding more features every day, and most of them are at no charge. And again, it's a good story to tell. We're validated and developed out of Bascom Palmer. Next slide, please. So what are the clinical benefits? Number one, it's efficient. You can do a screening in less than a minute and a threshold in less than 3 minutes. Once it is on the patient hits the button and the tech is free to do whatever they want, because the virtual assistant is going to say, you're about to do a visual field. Let me help you get ready. Everything your assistant says, the virtual assistant's going to say. It's flexible. Perform the test anywhere you like. Again, patients are usually waiting in the lane for a few minutes for you to come in. They have pressures of 28. They need a visual field. Pop it on them and do that visual field right in the chair. There's no trial lenses that are needed. The patient just wears their glasses. Everything is tested to distance. So a standard automated perimeter is set for near. That's why you have to put the trial lens in. The patient just puts their glasses on. We do have an optional trial lens holder if the patient forgets their glasses. Somebody asked how you clean it, and let me grab a headset real quick. The headset has like a fake leather, and you just clean it with an alcohol prep pad. But we also have optional cloth masks that can go around the patient's ear, and you can put that on as well. There's no eye patch. The fellow eye is patched automatically in the headset, and there's no chin rest, and there's no leaning into the bowl, so the patient can just sit back very comfortably. Again, 1,100 installed. We've had very few warranty issues. EyeCare Partners was our first big contract. They have 750 locations. And I had a call with them about a month ago, and they said the bad news is we're not going to get any extended warranties from you. The good news is we haven't had any devices break, and they bought almost 100 from us. And they said it's the most durable equipment they've ever bought for their practices. So That was a great testimonial for us. I see there's a question, can both eyes be tested at the same time? The answer is no. It'll test one eye and then the other eye. And it's basically the same test time as on a standard Humphrey. It's really easy for the patient. The patients like this test. They don't dread it anymore. And you can perform many more visual fields because you don't need that dedicated room and technician. Next slide, please. It comes in an array of 8 colors. You can see mine is a forest green. It's kind of a sparkly green, but all these colors are beautiful. And practices will get multiple units. They'll get different colors so they know which unit to load. They're going to get onto their laptop. You need a Wi-Fi enabled device and you load the headset. Next slide, please. So we have a 30-day money back guarantee. So if you buy a device from us, you basically have 30 days to try it. And if you don't like it, send it back to us in Miami, and that's it. Same billing codes as Humphrey, 92081, 082, and 083. We now have an option. It's a $1,000 option for extended color vision testing. That's 92283. That's billable at $52. And pupillography is like $18 or something. We are ADA tax compliant, and I'll show that in the next slide. But if you qualify, you can get an ADA tax credit and Section 179. And again, you can perform a lot more visual fields since you don't need that dedicated room, and time is money. Next slide, please.
Bill, we have a question that just came in.
Yeah.
Has the test been validated against standard perimetry?
So we have 15 studies out of Bascom. I think 4 of them have been published. The others are under review, and there's one really good study on teleperimetry where we send patients home and we compare it to the Humphrey, and it's spot on. We are in the process right now of doing a study comparing 24-2 on the Humphrey against our 24-2 at UCLA and Oklahoma School of Optometry. So that's going to take us a couple months, but we should have the results of that pretty quickly. So this is really where the rubber meets the road. If you look at this slide, on the left is a Humphrey 24-2. And on the right is ours, and you can see it's not kind of like a Humphrey, it's exactly like a Humphrey. The only difference is we don't have GHT, which to me is not a deal breaker. I always tell people the most important part of the printout to look at is the total deviation and the pattern deviation probability plots. Next slide, please. Here's a screener, FDT on the left, 41 seconds, and our screener on the right, which is the same point configuration as the 24-2, and that's 51 seconds. So if you want to do a screener, it's a really great screening device as well. Next slide, please. Here's an overview printout. Again, just like the Humphrey, but those of you that are used to these printouts, the only thing we don't have is we do not have GPA. GPA takes a lot of longitudinal data. We just don't have that. We haven't been around long enough, but it is an overview printout with a trend analysis on the top. So it's, you know, it's fine as far as I'm concerned. It's fine for managing your glaucoma patients. And if you have any concerns about it, we recommend if you have a glaucoma patient that you really need to follow closely, pop them on the Humphrey. And pop all of your screening patients, your stable glaucoma patients, and the patients that just can't fit into a bowl perimeter. Next slide, please. Here's a Superior 64 ptosis test. On the right is the Humphrey, same patient on ours, and you can see that you get a picture of the external eye on the screen with ours as well. Next slide, please. This is a list of all the tests we do. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but we really cover everything you could possibly do on a Humphrey. I think the only thing we may not do is a 30-60 test. You know, that's a test that starts at 30 and goes out to 60, but we have everything else, full field for neuro, Superior 64 and 36 for ptosis, all your glaucoma tests, 10-2 for Plaquenil evaluation or any retinal pathologies. We can change the stimulus size to size 5. We can change the stimulus target for kids to a rocket ship or a flower. You can change it to a small diamond and large diamond for macular degeneration patients. So again, it's a mini Humphrey. We also have included a 14-plate Ishihara color test, and we are soon going to be releasing visual acuity, contrast sensitivity, and cover test. Next slide, please. Just some, testimonials from a few of our customers. I'm going to just get through this because I think I'm running a little behind. I'm almost done. Next slide, please. So if you'd like more information on this, please take a screenshot, but you can send an email either to sales@virtualvision.health, not .com, or bill@virtualvision.health. And just shoot me an email and say, I'd like to get a little more info. We set up Zoom calls where we can show you how a test is performed. I can answer all your questions in more detail. This was based as kind of an overview. And then there's our website, which is virtualvision.health as well. And next slide, please. That's it. Any questions?
Bill, thank you so much. You answered the questions as they were coming in. The final question I have for you is, for those patients who forget their glasses, so they don't have them to wear during your VRVF, is a special trial frame required, or can the regular trial frames be used with the loose lenses?
You could do that. The trial frames, though, as you know, are kind of big. And we've had all sorts of sizes of glasses that we can fit into this headset. But our trial lens holder is pretty slick. It's 3 pieces. One piece permanently adheres to each lens. It pops onto each lens. And there's 3 little magnetic buttons on there. And then the second and third piece are like half moon. And they have magnetic buttons on them, and they clip together. You put sphere in one, cylinder in the other, and then they just pop right up. So it's slick and it's quick and easy to use. And you would use that, as you mentioned, on patients that forget their glasses, or the patients that might be, 45 years old and they've never had an eye exam and they refract out, at -4 or something. You have to accommodate for that. So that's where you would use that.
Got it. Bill, thank you again for a wonderful presentation.
Thank you.